Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Anthony Milton. It is a pleasure to be before you today. And I'm here on September the 24th. Yesterday was my birthday. I saw a lot of events. I read a lot of events that should have happened September the 23rd, the end of the world, the rapture, and yada, yada, yada kind of stuff. And it made me think, I say, why is people putting stuff on the internet saying that the world going to end and the rapture going to take place on the 23rd? If it had happened, I wouldn't be sitting before you today. And if it had happened, the rapture or the end of the world as we know it to be, we will cease to exist. We wouldn't be living and we wouldn't know that we died. So it doesn't make sense in a way when we hear things on TV and radio that we should not believe it because they may have a spiritual principle behind it. And I was thinking about my birthday, that I thank God that he allowed me to see another one, and he remembered me, and I woke up because a lot of people did not wake up on September 23rd, and now it's September 24th. And it's my condolences to those who experienced a death in their family. May God mercy and grace and peace be with you in your time of need, and may you always seek him for answers. And I was thinking about my own behavior and the things that I have a confession to make. I was thinking about when I said a farewell to Facebook friends. I decided to take a break from Facebook a little bit because I was discouraged and a little bit disappointed because of a lot of the I thought was informational, thought-provoking, inspiring, informative, and things that I uploaded that will be received to a degree that I felt it should be received. But I did get some response and some I didn't get. And it was kind of disappointing. And then I had to step back and look at myself and say, why is I'm doing this? Am I doing this for me? No. I had to realize that I was doing it for other people. If I can touch one person's life, patient to upload, I've done my job. And I was saying, sometimes when we confess our faults and look at ourselves, then our confession will help others. So it's my prayer that my confession of my pride got in the way, that my feelings was hurt because of the lack of very little response that I did get. I did get response, and I thank those individuals who did respond to my many uploads that I put on Facebook. I even put links to people to go to the YouTube channel to watch videos that are uploaded, and I got very little response. And I know when you build a house, it doesn't, it takes time, and I had to learn that. But then what's interesting thought I had, that when we confess something, we can help other people. And before I turn on the camera today, I was thinking, when last have you, listener, have confessed your faults to one another? When have you said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean this, I didn't mean that, please forgive me? Or did you forgive yourself? And a lot of us, even myself, had to realize that we need to forgive ourselves for our behaviors. We need to forgive others. It's not about how it will be received. We should not, I have this old saying, if I want to ask you something, I need to ask you the question to get the response. I should not ask the question to myself, give myself the answer, and then apply it as though you answer the question. That's wrong. So we need to ask people questions. We need to apologize when need to be. It's not about, well, what they did to me and I can't apologize. I've heard people say, I would never forgive them. I go to my grave before I will forgive them. But we as individuals need to begin to understand that we are here on this earth for a reason. Some people get married, that's fine. They follow their career, that's fine too. But there are others like myself feel that we have more, that our life is here, that we are here for a reason to help others. I'm in a position where I feel I've been blessed with a gift that I can be a blessing to those who want help. You can't help people that don't want help. You must help those who ask for your help. I can't force you. I have no power to make you do anything. I can only give you the information, and whatever you do with it, that's fine. People have asked me all kinds of questions, and then they turn around and do the opposite. Do I get mad with them? No. You know, and I learned that you can't help people who don't want to open their mind. Uh, a lot of individuals, even I'm speaking from my past experience, because what you hear today and what you read on my Facebook uploads and my YouTube channel, back in the day in the 80s and the 70s, that was not me. I had to learn. I had a spiritual awakening moment. I remember when I used to stay at my cousin's house. I was outside laying on the porch. I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was looking up at the sky, and I saw the moon and the stars. And a thought came to my mind: I must find God. I must find God. And my heart started racing. I was beating. I was breaking out into a sweat. I was walking back and forth, up and down the street, and I was scared. I was just petrified, because it's like I was told I must find God, and it's like, how can I find God? How can I really find God? But now I look back at it, that was my first awakening moment in my life to got me to a point where I'm at today. Did I took the easy road? No, I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of. I followed the road of, sex without marriage and doing my own thing, thinking I wasn't hurting people, but yes, I probably was hurting them directly, indirectly, doing my own thing, only satisfying with self, being prideful and stubborn and don't want to listen and do listen. And if it benefits me, then I may listen, and sometimes I don't listen. So I look back at the life that I lived from the time I was conceived and raised up for my mother and grandparents and stuff. And I look back and say, you know what? I thank God that He allowed me to be here today, experience a birthday, which was yesterday, and for me to say what I'm saying today, in hope that it will help you to realize that tomorrow is not promised to you. And I have this saying: you and I leave the past, present, and future. How's that, Anthony? Every time you take a breath, blink your eyes, you left the past, present, and future. You cannot control the air you breathe. You can close your mouth and not breathe, but you eventually have to let air in. You can't control your heartbeat. There's some bodily function you cannot control. So why are we trying to control every aspect of our lives? Because of pride and selfishness. We can't make people accept us. We're only responsible for what we do. I had to learn the hard way. Sometimes you have to learn from experience. It ought not to be that way. It'd be easy if we listen to what's being said to us and then make the adjustment and make the correction and confess our faults, confess our sin, confess our lack of understanding. And especially if anyone have quit school or drop out of school, they only limited to what they know up to the time they drop out of school. It's not about condemning anyone or pointing the finger. It is about helping people. I thought about what I always call the black trailblazers in the 18 and 1700s. When they saw a problem, they decided to stand up and say, what can I do? One person can make a difference. And that one person may have gave their life, pain and suffering, or loss of a family member in the pursuit of accomplishing one goal to make a difference. You and I today, as Black Americans, have the opportunity to make a difference in other people's lives. But I find out by being a Black American, if you're not on the same Black plantation as other Blacks, then you will call Uncle Tom or acting white and Oreo not one of us, which I will go into another message later. This is not the message for today. And I look back at the things that I have wrote in the 80s, in the 90s. I always felt that I was a man from the future, because a lot of things I have written back then can be applied to today. If you heard it, which you will, because I will be doing videos on them and reading from my book, The Hidden Tears of a Black Male. And that book is about the hidden tears of Black male. It's about, I thought about it when we always look at talk shows where the woman say, my husband left me for this woman, my husband left me for that, but we never hear black males expressing themselves and saying, I'm being physically abused by my wife or my girlfriend, I'm being beaten up, I can't call the police. I remember I can't, call the police because I'm ashamed of being hit by my woman. And so I decided, as we call it, flipping the strip, to show you that black men do cry. You may not see the tears coming from their eyes, but how do they cry? They cry in the form of their behavior. When next time you talk to a black male or observation from across the street or wherever you may be, if you see a black male with his pants down, he is crying. If you see a black male doing things and saying things that's not godly or immoral, they're crying. You cry in the form of your behavior, the thing that you say. And there's no one to wipe their tears. I'm sorry, what can wipe away their tears? Truth. If they accept the truth, they must confess that they lack because they drop out of school. They must confess that they have anger. They must confess that, no one wants to help them. They must confess that, they didn't get the job because their appearance. They must confess anything that they see that prevent them from doing better. And when you are a black individual and you begin to speak the truth to other blacks about other blacks' behaviors and what they say and do, you are ridiculed for it, and people hate you and can't stand you, and they don't want to have nothing to do with you. And my thought is, why is it that way? Why, as we as black Americans, when another black American is doing his or her best to try to inform other blacks that it ought not to be that way, that they can do better, that they need to stop doing certain things, they get ridiculed for it. Like, for example, I said on the video that when there's a storm or hurricane comes in to hit a community, people are evacuating their homes, going to different locations because they don't want to get hurt by the storm. And then other individuals stay home and say, well, I'm gonna break in this store and steal certain items because of whatever. I can see if there are in a certain location where there's no food, there's no water, there's nothing until help arrive. And they broke into a store to get the basic necessity to live on until help arrive. I can see that is their motive. The key is, what is our motive when we do certain things? For example, if I come to you and say, man, I borrowed $20, you're going to say, you might think to yourself, I'm not going to give you $20. I don't know you. What have you done for me lately? I may not get paid. You may not pay me back. Or you may just simply say, I don't have it. So what is our motive for saying yes? And what is our motive for saying no? What is our motive for doing the things that we do? If we are doing things because it benefits us, is that a good motive? Are we doing things to help others? Are you in a position to help other people and you refuse to because it doesn't benefit you? Or you may be one, like I know other individual may want to say something, may want to help, but they refuse to help because they don't want to experience the back talk. And I don't blame them. Some people some black individuals want to help other blacks, but they are not going to be well received because the first thing when you help other blacks, you have to be careful. And I hate to say that because they'll take advantage of you, and it's just bad. And then being a black male or even a black person or female, when you start telling people the truth, you have to tell the truth. You have to tell the truth to expose the bad behavior. But when people reject you because you're telling the truth about, they get mad and take it as an insult and say you are hurting my feelings or I don't like what you said, but it's the truth. Wipe away the physical and emotional tears. Let's confess that we lack understanding, wisdom, knowledge, discernment. We must confess that we do lack a lot of things. And yes, this message might be heard by other races, and that's fine. But I'm directing it toward the black males and the black American because it reminded me, as I always say, I wonder what it was like in the 17 and 16, 1800s when the black individual was captured by slaves on plantation, families giving birth to their slave owners, killed, whatever you can think of, hang, shoot for target practice, whatever they experienced. And it made me wonder, did they think, I need help, please help me? And then when they heard these black trailblazers decide to stand up, despair, I'm quite sure, I'm not positive, that they were thankful that any given day that they could hear a message that said a change will come, this and that, but a change will occur. And because of my actions, you will benefit, or your descendants or your ancestors will benefit from my behavior. We have black individuals that do not take advantage of what the black trailblazers have done. We talk about separation of the races. You couldn't go through the front of the store. You had to get on the back of the bus. You couldn't go through the front of the store and sit at the food counter and all this kind of stuff. We fought against segregation. And now, I think I read 2 weeks ago in the paper or news where you have black colleges or certain individuals on certain college campuses is calling for black segregated space from other races. And I'm saying, why we want to go back? It made me think that a lot of emotionalism is being spread out there, because who does it benefit? Who benefits from racism? I will be touching on in the previous days and weeks. Who benefits? When things are happening all around us, before we respond, we need to confess and say, wait a minute, I don't know that's what's being said. I'm going to do my own homework. I must confess that I'm ignorant and stupid and not knowledgeable because I quit school. How can I educate myself? I must go back to school. If I want a good job, I must go back to school. Yeah, I can sell some drugs. I can get the Benjamin. I can get the golds. I can get the females. I can buy the pot. I can drink the 40s. I can get drunk. I can have a nice house. I can have a house. But ask yourself a question. In any given neighborhood, there might not be. In any given neighborhood, do you know of a known retired drug dealer that's still living off the access he achieved? There probably is some out there undercover that you don't know about, but the other one that's under them got arrested, been killed, or in jail. So we as black individuals must confess that we must not allow ourselves to be played by other races. We're quick to say the white man is racist, but when it comes to black, males or females being racist, we say, oh, we don't have the power to be a racist. Oh, really? You let two black females, that's one is light skinned, or even a black male, and they're different shades of black, the N-word and everything else out of the book will be thrown at them. So black individuals are racist to their own kind. It's not a subject that's being talked about, and it needs to be talked about. And we must confess that even in our black churches, they remain silent because the very things that people are doing on the street, some of their members are doing the same thing. And because they refuse this priest word, because they don't want to offend and cause their congregation to leave, they look the other way and they keep their mouth shut because they want the money. That a change is coming, whether you're aware of it or not. Those of you who have spiritual ears and eyes will see. I will be glad if I heard this message that I'm bringing forth for you today. If I was not given it and I heard someone saying, begin to confess your faults, your lack, and whatever, to seek help, to deny, to fight the pride within you, because we know that pride destroys all of us if we don't fight against it. When we refuse to fight, then we can be easily captured and be taken to someone else. There's no physical plantation. Someone else can take us to their own mental And when we decide to think for ourselves, think about it. I wrote a passage in one of my books called Still in the Plantation Benefits Me. What do that mean? Plantation, my ideas and belief. And I'm deceiving you to say it benefits you, but it actually benefits me. You start thinking for yourself because you decide to confess that you don't know anything, and you find out the truth, and you escape from the plantation of what you believe. Then your plantation owner, your friend, your family member, whomever, your homies on the street, don't like you. They hate you. They can't stand you because you escape from their own belief that benefits them. They get you back. They whip you with lies and accusation that cause you to come back. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you, baby. I'm sorry. I was foolish. Whatever you may say. And they give you little bits of truth, keep you to bring you back to their plantation of ideas. And we can see that in, say, for example, someone in a gang and they decide to leave. So they may torture them or punish them or beat them, harass them to get them back on the plantation of their ideas. It's like a drug dealer have people under him that's selling the drugs, and the person decides, I don't want to sell drugs anymore. So he whipped that person with lies and accusations, physically, emotionally, to cause them to come back. They're thinking that when they were selling drugs, it actually benefits the drug seller, but it's actually benefiting the drug dealer, because the owner, the one that's supplier, the one that's selling it only get a little bit of here and there money. And the same thing in relationships, a husband and a wife, or a boyfriend and girlfriend, and she leaves her man and she goes the other way, and she has a yearning for to go back, or vice versa. And he said, baby, I'm sorry, you know, I didn't mean to. And he, you know, whipping her with a little bit of lies and a little bit of truth. And then he or she decide to come back and they experience more abuse. We must begin to confess our own lack of. If you like what you've heard, on the right-hand corner button, and on the left-hand bottom side, make a comment. Allow people to share your comment, and share it with your friends to give them opportunity to hear what you have heard. Everybody has a confession. What's yours? Thank you. Until we meet again.